What if one of America's biggest legal payouts suddenly had to be returned? Just weeks after paying millions to writer Carroll, Donald Trump is now asking for that money back. But Carroll's legal team has fired back with explosive court filings, accusing Trump of trying to delay justice once again. So what exactly has happened? Why is Trump demanding a refund? And could this legal battle end up back in court all over again? Let's break it down. U.S. President Donald Trump has launched yet another legal move in his years-long battle with writer Carroll. According to fresh court filings, Trump's legal team is seeking an emergency injunction that would force Carroll to return the nearly $5 million judgment she recently received. The request comes only weeks after Trump finally paid the amount awarded in the federal civil case, making this latest twist one of the most surprising developments in the ongoing legal fight. However, Carroll's lawyers have strongly opposed the move, arguing that there is no legal basis for reversing the payment after multiple courts have already ruled on the matter. According to the filing, Trump's latest request is procedurally improper, substantively meritless. His legal opponents didn't stop there. They also described it as yet another example of defendant's pattern of slow-rolling his defenses, asserting or inventing a new one each time his prior effort to delay the case fails. Trump's emergency injunction is yet another example of defendant's pattern of slow-rolling his defenses, asserting or inventing a new one each time his prior effort to delay the case fails. Carroll's court filing. That language immediately grabbed headlines because it suggests Carroll's team believes Trump is simply trying to postpone the inevitable. But to understand why this latest filing matters, we need to go back to where this legal battle began. Carroll first accused Donald Trump of sexually assaulting her inside a New York department store during the mid-1990s. Trump denied the allegation and repeatedly claimed Carroll was lying. He also said she was not his quote-unquote type. Following those statements, Carroll sued Trump for defamation. Years later, she filed another lawsuit that included both battery and defamation claims under New York's Adult Survivors Act. A federal jury eventually found Trump liable for sexually abusing and defaming Carroll. He was ordered to pay approximately $5 million in damages. But that wasn't the end. In a separate defamation case, another Manhattan civil jury later awarded Carroll $83.3 million, a judgment that Trump is still appealing. So today, there are actually two major legal cases connected to Carroll and Trump. One has already been paid, the other remains under appeal. For nearly 3 years, Trump challenged the original judgment through multiple legal avenues, including repeated efforts before higher courts. He even sought intervention from the United States Supreme Court, but those efforts failed to change the outcome. And earlier this month, after years of legal resistance, Trump finally transferred the court-ordered payment to Carroll. Many legal observers believed that would finally close this chapter. Instead, it has opened another one. Following the payment, Trump's legal team filed a fresh emergency request, hoping to stop Carroll from keeping the money. According to Carroll's lawyers, the move should never have happened. In documents submitted to the United States Court of Appeals to the Second Circuit, they argued that Trump had already exhausted numerous legal options. The filing states, rather than accepting the reality that he had lost, defendant has engaged in a series of maneuvers, trying desperately to forestall payment. The lawyers also reminded the court that those attempts had already failed. According to the filing, those attempts failed on July 8th when this court denied defendant's emergency requests for a stay, permitting the district court to disperse the judgment. That should have been the end of this case. Their position is straightforward. Once the appeals court refused to halt the payment and the money was released, Carroll legally became entitled to receive it. Now, they argue there is simply no reason to reverse that decision. At the same time, the filing suggests Trump's legal strategy has become increasingly repetitive, with each unsuccessful appeal followed by another attempt using a different legal argument. That brings us to perhaps the biggest question of all. If Trump continues making public statements about Carroll while these legal battles remain active, could this courtroom saga become even bigger? While the latest filing focuses on the $5 million judgment, Carroll's legal team has also hinted that this may not be the end of their courtroom battles with Trump. One reason is Trump's recent public comments. According to reports, Carroll has already secured an $83.3 million judgment in a separate defamation case after a Manhattan civil jury found Trump liable for repeatedly defaming her after the original verdict. That case is still under appeal. However, Trump's latest public remarks have once again raised legal questions. According to the report, Carroll's lawyers had previously indicated they would not hesitate to return to court if Trump continued making allegedly defamatory statements. Speaking after the earlier verdict, Carroll's legal team said they were more than willing to file another lawsuit if circumstances required it. One of Carroll's lawyers had remarked,
"Typically, when people are held liable for false and defamatory lies, they stop." He continued to defame Ms. Carroll even as this trial was ongoing.
Those earlier remarks are now receiving renewed attention because of Trump's latest public comments. Legal experts say that while every new statement would have to be evaluated individually, repeated public remarks could potentially create fresh legal complications if they are found to be defamatory. For now, however, no new lawsuit has been filed, but the possibility has once again answered the conversation. The legal battle has already stretched for nearly 3 years. During that period, Trump repeatedly appealed the verdict and attempted to delay payment. One of those final attempts came earlier this month when his legal team asked the court to block Carroll from receiving the money. That request was rejected. Judge Lewis Kaplan did not hold back in describing the situation. According to the report, he said Trump has been stalling this case for years, while also pointing out that even the United States Supreme Court, including 3 justices appointed by Trump himself, declined to review the case. Judge Kaplan concluded that it was time for Trump to do equity and satisfy the judgment. Following the payment, Carroll's legal team celebrated the outcome. They said, "3 years ago, a unanimous 9-person jury found President Trump liable for sexually assaulting and defaming E. Jean Carroll. Today, we are pleased to report that she has received the damages payment the jury awarded her as a result of that verdict." But only weeks later, Trump's latest request has once again pushed both sides back into legal headlines. Now, the court will decide whether this fresh attempt has any legal standing or whether the payment will remain exactly where it is. For now, however, the $5 million payment remains with E. Jean Carroll. Trump wants it back. Carroll says absolutely not. Her lawyers argue the case should have ended once the courts rejected Trump's repeated appeals, while Trump's legal team is still searching for another path forward. At the same time, the separate $83.3 million defamation judgment continues to move through the appeals process, meaning this legal saga is far from over. And if Trump's future public statements lead to fresh legal action, this could be yet another chapter in one of America's most closely watched courtroom battles. Whether the courts agree with Trump's latest request or reject it once again, one thing is clear. 3 years after the first verdict, the legal fight between Donald Trump and E. Jean Carroll is still making headlines, and this story may not be over just yet.